So here we are. We are back. We are looking at some multiplication. We've been talking about different ways we can do that. Today we are looking into arrays. So really what that means when we're multiplying numbers, remember that can mean multiplication, right? So 3 times 5. So what this really means with an array, like how do we model this array? And when we're talking arrays, we're really just kind of talking about this idea of having rows of things, rows, and columns, right? So this idea that you have something like a row that goes left and right, and a column that goes up and down. So it's really about organizing this work into a model that would make sense. So if we had like 3 times 5 and we were going to build an array to help us solve that, we would think about whatever one we want to use with the rows or the columns. It's our choice, and we'll talk a little bit later about why that's okay. But let's just say, for example, I want my 3 to be my rows. So that means I'm going to have 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3, right? And so, well, we'll just do that. There's 3. And then I'm going to have a column, right? The columns that go up and down. So notice I know that looked like I went up and down, but really these rows are going to go left and right. That's why they started this way. And then a column that's going to have 5 columns. So I already have 1 column here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the thing about these arrays here, right? The thing about them is that every row and column has to have an equal amount. That's what makes an array work so well, is that it's just like fill in the blank and evenly distributed, which means then I got to make sure I have 5 in each of my 3 rows and 3 in each of my 5 columns. And this would be my array. And so if I just wanted to know the answer, I would count how much I have. So that'd be, let's see, we could count by 5s here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 10, 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. This is how we really model that into an array. But of course, we're not done yet. We're just going to keep practicing this. So let's take 4. Let's multiply it by 6. So again, we're going to build an array out of this. We're going to build the idea of rows and columns using these numbers that we have. So think about left and right and up and down, and then just like an even amount in each, right? It's all equal. So 4 times 6. So again, like I said, we could think about either one being my row or column. So I'll just start with my 4, and I'll just call that my row. So I'm going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4. And then I'm going to need 6 columns. I already have 1 here, right? This counts as a column, so I'm going to recount this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we really just kind of fill in the blank. I'll just use another color for that. But all of them then have to have the same amount, because this is 4 rows of 6 or 6 columns of 4, right? So it's really about making sure the same amount is in every single one of them and that they're lined up. Like notice how well, partially well, they're all lined up, right? This is like, they're all together. They're nice and spaced out, but like my columns have these nice rows that connect like this. And actually, I guess I connected my columns there, but let's connect the rows. And if you actually see as I start to do this, like fill this in, this also starts to look a lot like something else that we look into, right? And if I counted all these, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6, 12, 18, 24. Oh, man, rough one today on the writing. Okay, so 4 times 6 would equal 24. But also then, like I was saying, like look at what we built here. We actually have a rectangle. And then if we filled in all these pieces, as you can see, it's like we have these little parts. So this is the same thing as kind of helping us find area. And we'll talk about area and perimeter. We'll review that later. But This also helps me think about area, which I say, you've heard me say, area and arrays kind of sound similar, but everyone always questions me on that. But I don't know, maybe it's because they just both start with this. But they are related. This idea that we can use arrays to build a shape and then find the area of it by just multiplying, right? Using that work. So again, another array. I don't know, 5. Let's use the star symbol this time. Let's do 5 times 7. So that's a bigger array. And here's the thing with efficiency, right? When we talk about using arrays as a technique, the larger my numbers get, it might not be as efficient because I have to draw such a large picture, but that's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have 7 columns. Remember, this one counts. It's already there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then again, we just make sure that we have 5 rows of 7 each. So I'm going to put 7 in each row. Again, lining them up nicely, spacing them so that we don't get confused when we count. That's the other thing. When you build these large arrays and then you have to start counting all the little dots, if you have them all squished together, it's going to be really hard to count. So this is 7. And if we counted that out, let's see here, there's 5 in each. There's 5 in each column. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So 5 times 7 equals 35. So this is really how we can build arrays to kind of help us think about ways that we can solve multiplication problems, as well as coming to that part of area, like how we find the measurement of these 4-sided shapes, which you can see we are building. Right, and if you connected each row and column evenly, you'll see you kind of get these little blocks, and those we can count those units to help us get area. If I was to count, if I did all this and counted all this, we would end up with 35. You gotta trust me on that. You can do it if you want, but trust me, it'd be 35. So arrays are great techniques. So I really want you to be thinking about when crossed with a multiplication problem, like, can you build an array to help you solve it? And the answer is yes. I mean, you always can, but then think about, is it the best strategy for you? And if so, gosh, by all means, keep using it, right? So give these ones a go. Check some of the other work out we have on Schoology. Ask questions as always. I appreciate your hard work and everything you're doing through this, and I'll see you soon for sure.